بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
الحمد لله حمدا كثيرا طيبا مباركا فيه كما يحب ربنا ويرضى. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله الناصح الأمين. اللهم صل على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين ومن تمسك بسنته إلى يوم الدين. ثم أما بعد. الحمد لله. وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله. الحمد لله على نعمة الإسلام والسنة. All praise and thanks belong to Allah Azza wa Jal for guiding us to Islam and for guiding us to the Sunnah. We continue going over the tremendous book by the Fadilat al-Shaykh Al-Allama Imam bin Baz Rahmatullah alayh. That book, Durus al-Muhimma li'amat al-Ummah, important lessons for every Muslim. We have reached the statement of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala inside of Surah Al-Fatiha, where Allah Jalla wa Ala, He says, إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ. The Shaykh Abdul Razaq bin Shaykh Abdul Muhsin Al-Badr حفظه الله تعالى, he says فيها, and he's going to bring some different points بِإِذْنِ ta'ala, so it will be good to have the ayah إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ. Unto you alone do we worship, and unto you alone do we seek for help. And then to bring different bullet points, inshallah ta'ala, because he mentions some benefits and some takeaways that we get from this ayah. So it'll be easier for your notes to put them in bullet points with Allah ta'ala. Wa alaykum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. To put it in bullet points with Allah ta'ala. But he says the first one, fiha, inside of this ayah, is ikhlas. Ikhlasul ibadati wal isti'ana. And that is, we have a singling out of Allah alone. We have a sincerity in ibadah, or that we single out Allah with worship, and that we single out Allah in asking for help, aid, and assistance. This is from the takeaways of this ayah, that there's ikhlasul ibadah wal isti'ana, a singling out of Allah alone with worship, and singling out of Allah alone with asking for help, aid, and assistance. So sincerity unto Allah in worship, and being sincere unto Allah in asking for aid, help, and assistance, meaning that we only worship Allah and we only ask Allah for His aid, help, and assistance. Right? A benefit also, that where we get this benefit from, or the portions of the ayah that we get this benefit from, or that this benefit is derived from, قوله ta'ala, is Allah Ta'ala's statement, إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ, unto you alone do we worship. أي أُخْلِصُ لَكَ عِبَادَتِي فَلَا أَعْبُدُ غَيْرَكَ. This is where we get the first benefit from, that we have ikhlas, that we worship Allah and Allah alone, meaning that I have sincerity unto you, I worship you alone and solely. So my worship is only for you, and I do not worship other than you. And I do not worship other than you. And this is from Allah Ta'ala's statement, إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ. This is where we get that from. So the first part, ikhlasul ibadah, having sincerity unto Allah alone, making all of the ibadah for Allah alone, then that's from إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ. But وَإِخْلَاصُ الْإِسْتِعَانَةِ, having sincerity in worshiping Allah and Allah alone. We got that one, right? Like, having sincerity and asking Allah alone. Making all of our asking for aid, hope, or aid and assistance, aid and assistance from Allah and Allah alone. This is from Allah Ta'ala's statement, وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينَ وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينَ أي أخلص الاستعانة بك فلا أستعين بأحد سواك. Meaning that I single you out alone. I have sincerity unto you, meaning I single you out alone with asking for help, aid, and assistance. And I do not ask for help, aid, and assistance to anyone other than you. I do not ask for aid, help, and assistance to anyone other than you. Naam, or anyone other than you. So, these are the takeaways, right? Or from the takeaways of this tremendous ayah. But this is not the only benefit that we get from this ayah. This is not the only benefit that we get from this particular ayah. Also, the Shaykh, he mentions that inside of this ayah, في قوله جل وعلا إياك نعبد براءة من الشرك, that in Allah's statement, unto you alone do we worship, then also in this there is a disassociation from polytheism. There's a total and complete disassociation from all forms, all types, all shapes of polytheism. Naam. So there's a freeing of oneself from shirk. And that is from which part? Naam, you alone is that we worship. Iyaka na'budu. Right. وفي قوله, in Allah Ta'ala's statement, وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينَ, and you alone do we ask for help, aid, and assistance. بَرَاءَةٌ مِنَ الْحَوْلِ وَالْقُوَّةِ, then in this statement, and you alone do we ask for aid, help, and assistance, there is a freeing of oneself, or there is a freeing from what? From any type of power, might, and ability. Naam. That an individual, he is completely impoverished, and he realizes this. So he frees himself from having any might, any power, any ability. Because, as we mentioned before, al-hawl, this is the changing of something from state to state. The changing of something from state to state. Naam. So, for example, if an individual, he's hungry. Now, he is completely impoverished. To change that situation from hunger to satiation, he doesn't have the ability to change it. Now, because if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has not decreed for that person to eat anything, then that person will not eat anything. Correct? And we have real life examples of this. Because are there not people who starve to death? Don't some people starve to death? Yeah. Now, you look around the earth, right? There's a lot of risk. Now, there's a lot of risk. Look around the earth, there's a lot of risk, a lot of things to eat. But yet, people still starve to death. Why? Because Allah Ta'ala has not decreed for them food. And has decreed that their death will be from that means of starving to death. Right? That's the end Allah has decreed for them. No more food for them. Although the food is plentiful, no more food for them. Now, so an individual, he has no power to go from situation to situation except what? That all the power is and all the ability is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. All the power and the might is from Allah Azza wa Jal. So when a person says, وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينَ, he's acknowledging that me, myself, I'm impoverished. I can't do anything. I can't bring any good for myself. Only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can bring good for me. And whatever Allah has decreed for me will never miss me. And whatever Allah has not decreed for me, it will never reach me. If Allah has decreed for a person something, it will reach him, even if he hides from it. Now, Allah Ta'ala, if Allah Ta'ala decrees for a person something, it will reach him, even if he hides from it. Okay? Likewise, if Allah Ta'ala has not decreed something for someone, it will never reach him, even if he chases it. Even if he tries diligently to obtain it, to attain it, it will never reach him, ever. He'll never get it. He'll never be able to get it. Now, because we understand that there is no power, no might except with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, meaning that there is no change of situation from situation to situation. So if a person, if he's in a bad situation and he wants that situation to change for the better, then what is the logical thing for him to do? Is to run to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He is the arranger of the affairs. Now, if a person is in a good situation and he wants that situation to continue and to be perpetual, right, and he wants that situation to be safe, then what is he to do? He has to run to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to beg Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to increase him in his blessing and to fortify the blessing for him, because change of situations is only in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So an individual, when he says this, وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينَ, he acknowledges this point. Although we still have to take the means, right? We still have to take the means to accomplish something. But we understand, this was previously mentioned, so we don't want to get too much into it again. But it's understood that even with taking the means, the success and the end of the affair is by the tawfiq from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not decree something for someone, then they will never get it. They will never get it. Now, ever. Right? So, this is understood, if we truly understood the meaning of وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينَ. So when a person says وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينَ, then he is acknowledging that he has no power, no might, no ability, he's nothing. He's acknowledging that he is not able to bring benefit for himself. He's incapable to bring benefit to himself. That he will only benefit because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has placed that bounty of benefit upon him. Now, so he acknowledges this. So he frees himself from having any type of power and might and ability over anything. Now, and we understand that from what? وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينَ. Now, and ikhwa wal akhawat, this is something that I really want to stress, that we understand this reality now, and that we're balanced. Because sometimes people, when things don't go in a manner in which they think it should go, they almost destroy themselves, right? As if they can do anything and have any real change upon anything, right? And this is because they overestimate and they do not equate fairly and in reality and properly their ability. They think they can really do something, so they run themselves ragged. And what I mean run themselves ragged is they go beyond what is the means. Not just they take the means for doing something, but then they over obsess and they stress over it, so they cause all types of things and harm to themselves, from ulcers, from migraines, and all types of things they cause to themselves. They stop eating and they start losing weight, and they get problems attached to lack of nutrition and so on and so forth. Why are you running yourself ragged? You think you can really do something? You have done what you can do. You've taken the means. Now, and you're still thinking about other means that you can possibly take, but once the believer has taken the means of something and he has done what he can do, or she has done what she can do, and they put their trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then khalas, that's it. They put their trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because they know that the tawfiq is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So they're not going to drive themselves crazy and run themselves ragged and worrying over something unnecessarily. Now, because they know that worry is no benefit. Is it going to help you? No. Worry is not from the means of anything. It's not from the means of anything. Okay? So you take the means and then that's it. you leave it in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you take the means, and then you leave it to Allah azza wa jal. You put your trust inside of Allah azza wa jal. Right? Also, when an individual understands this, he doesn't go to the other side as well, where he just sits on his hands and he says, khalas, I'm not going to do anything, I'll just sit here and be a well-wisher. It's not going to help you. Okay, a person's telling me, he's wishing that something would take place and happening for him and so on and so forth, is not going to aid in the system, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has legislated that we take the means, that we have to take the means for the establishment and accomplishment of what we are looking for. Right? In any event, this is understood from وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينَ. Also, inside of this ayah we have the tahqiq of La ilaha illallah. We have the actualization of La ilaha illallah, and that is in Allah Ta'ala statement وَإِيَّاكَ that's in Allah Ta'ala statement إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ, that you alone do we worship. Inside of this is the tahqiq of La ilaha illallah, the actualization of La ilaha illallah. And inside of Allah Ta'ala statement وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينَ, and unto you alone do we ask for help, aid and assistance, tahqiq of La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. This is the tahqiq for the statement La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah, the actualization of the statement that there is no power, no might, there's no change from situation to situation, no power, no might, no ability except with Allah Jalla wa ala. Naam, tayyib. Also, inside of Allah Ta'ala's statement, إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ, you alone do we worship, فِيهَا الْخُلُوص مِنَ الشِّرْكِ وَالرِّيَاءِ, there is a freeing of oneself, right? And that one, he purifies himself away from polytheism and away from showing off. إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ, you alone do we worship. So when we worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we worship Allah azza wa jal sincerely. We worship Allah ta'ala sincerely, and we completely dissociate ourselves from polytheism in all its shapes and forms, which includes showing off. Because we're praying to Allah azza wa jal. We're looking for Allah's bounty. We're not looking for anything from anyone else. We're not hoping for anything from anyone else, because we're doing it for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And likewise with all of our acts of worship, there's no room for showing off. For what? For what? Because we do our acts of worship because we want Allah to be pleased with us, and we can care less about whoever else is or is not pleased with us due to our acts of worship, if we are striving our best to be compliant to the Sharia and so on and so forth. Then it is only befitting that we have ikhlas. Naam, it's only befitting that we have ikhlas, because the deed won't be accepted except that it has to be sincerely for Allah, and it has to be in accordance to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So the person wants his deeds to be accepted, then having them in accordance to the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ is only an aspect. But then he also has to have it sincere for Allah Azza wa Jal. Likewise, if a person is sincere to Allah Azza wa Jal, then it is only befitting that his action should be in accordance to the sunnah, because if he wanted to count, it has to also be in accordance to the sunnah. So there's no room for showing off. There's no room for showing off. So when we say that worship Allah and Allah alone, that our worship is unto Allah and Allah alone, then there's no room for showing off. Now, so this is a disassociation, and this is a freeing and a purifying from polytheism, from shirk, and from showing off. Also, inside of Allah Ta'ala's statement, وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينَ, فِيهَا خُلُوصٌ مِنَ الْعُجْبِ وَالْكِبْرِيَاءِ, there is an disassociation and a purity, purifying from self-amazement and arrogance. That a person, he's not amazed with himself, nor is he arrogant, because he realizes what la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah, that there is no power, no might, no change except with Allah Azza wa Jal. So where's the room to be arrogant or to be amazed with oneself? There's no room for it. Be amazed with yourself for what? When la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Naam. Be arrogant for what? When la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. So there's no room for arrogance and no room for self-amazement when a person truly understands this portion of the ayah, wa iyyaka nasta'een. And these are just some of the takeaways from this ayah. These are just some of the takeaways from this ayah. There's not all of the takeaways, and there's more that could be said about this ayah. Now, there's a lot more that could be said about this ayah, but inshallah ta'ala we'll leave it like that, except to mention one point, and that is, as Imam al-Sa'di rahmatullah alayhi, he mentions, he says, وَقَدَّمَ الْعِبَادَ عَلَى الْإِسْتِعَانَةِ. He says that ibadah was brought before al-isti'ana, that the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this was mentioned before the issue of asking for help, aid, and assistance. Now, so he speaks about the benefit that we get from why the ibadah was mentioned first before the isti'ana. And from what angle does this fall into? So he mentions, he says, وَقَدَّمَ الْعِبَادَ عَلَى الْإِسْتِعَانَةِ. He says, and putting the ibadah before the isti'ana, مِنْ بَابْ تَقْدِيمِ الْعَامِ عَلَى الْخَاصِ. This is from the standpoint of mentioning something in generality before mentioning a specific aspect of it. Now, that we mention something in general, and then afterwards you mention a specific aspect from it. Right? And to help us better understand, as a reminder, that from the categories of worship, one of the categories of ibadah, of worship, is what? Is isti'ana. So isti'ana, it is a category of worship. So isti'ana is what? Is worship. It is ibadah. Okay? But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He started off with what? With al-ibadah, general worship, before mentioning the specific category of worship, al-isti'ana. Right? And there's a reason. Because the ibadah in general, it points to something. And isti'ana, the isti'ana is for Allah Azza wa Jal, and it's only for Allah Azza wa Jal. However, there is an aspect of the isti'ana that has a benefit for something. Okay? So again, or to make it more clear, let's move on with Imam Sa'di's statement. He says, وَاحْتِمَامًا بِالتَّقْدِيمِ حَقِّهِ تَعَالَى عَلَى حَقِّ عَبْدِهِ. He said, and this is stressing the importance by bringing forth, mentioning the right of Allah, that Allah Ta'ala, He starts with His right, and that is what? The ibadah. All belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right. Before mentioning the right of His slave. Because for the slave himself, when he turns unto Allah Azza wa Jal with his asking for help, aid, and assistance, who is the benefactor of that help, aid, and assistance? The slave. Who's the benefactor? Who's the one that benefits from being helped, aid, and assisted? Is the slave himself. Now, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He put His right first. He mentioned His right first, the ibadah in general, right? Before mentioning that which the slave is a benefactor for. And this is why al-ibadah was mentioned before al-isti'ana. طيب, ما هي العبادة? What is al-ibadah? Al-ibadah اسم جامع لكل ما يحبه الله ويرضاه من الأعمال والأقوال الظاهرة والباطنة. So, ibadah, worship, is a word, a comprehensive word. It's a comprehensive word which includes everything that Allah loves and is pleased with, from actions and statements, those that are apparent and those that are hidden. From those that are apparent and those that are hidden. Now, this is ibadah. So everything that Allah loves and that He is pleased with, from statements and actions, both apparent and hidden, this is ibadah. So what is al-isti'anah? What is al-isti'anah? Here, and this is very important because it helps us to understand about putting our trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Al-isti'anah here, al-i'timad ala Allah. Al-i'timad ala Allah ta'ala في جلب المنافع وفي الدافع المضار مع ثقة به في التحصيل ذلك. And that is that we put our trust and our reliance upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We put our reliance and our trust upon Allah ta'ala to bring to us those things that will benefit us and to repel from us those things which are harmful to us, all while having full trust that Allah will facilitate that for us. Now that we have full trust that we'll be able to attain these things, that Allah Ta'ala, He will bring to us these things by bringing to us that which will benefit us and by keeping away from us that which will harm us. Now, so a person has to put his trust and reliance in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, and again, there's more that could be said about this ayah, but we will leave it with that which was mentioned, bi'ithnillahi ta'ala. And then Allah Ta'ala goes on to say, Ihdina as-sirata al-mustaqim, guide us to the straight path. Ay, dullana wa waffiqna, Ya Allah. Meaning, show us what is the straight path and give us tawfiq. And give us tawfiq, O Allah. Because an individual could be pointed to that which is correct, but that doesn't mean that they will abide by it. How many people they know about Islam, but they don't accept Islam? So they know about Islam, they've been shown it, they've been pointed to it, but they don't accept it. And this is why the Shaykh, he mentions dullana wa wafiqna, point us to it and give us the success in accepting it. Because pointing us to the straight path, that's not enough. But an individual has to be pointed to the straight path, and what he has to be given the success in being upon the straight path. Now, so when we say Ihdina as-sirata al-mustaqim, and guide us to the straight path, we're asking for the straight path to be shown to us, and also that we are given the success in following it and being upon it. Na'am. للسلوك هذا الصراط المستقيم, so that we walk upon this straight path, واتباعه, and that we follow it. نعم. للسلوك هذا الصراط المستقيم واتباعه, that we walk upon it and that we follow it. وقال الله تعالى, Allah Ta'ala says, وأن هذا صراطي مستقيما فاتبعوه ولا تتبعوا السبل فتفرق بكم عن سبيلي. Allah Ta'ala says, and verily this is my straight path, so follow it, and do not follow other paths, because it will separate you from my path. Ma'am. Do not follow other paths, because it will separate you from the path. So the straight path, huwa dinullah, it is Allah's religion. الَّذِي رَضِيَهُ لِعِبَادِهِ, that deen in which Allah Azza wa Jal He is pleased for His slaves to have this deen. He is pleased for His slaves to have this deen. وَلَا يَرُضَّى لَهُمْ دِينًا سِوَاهُ, and He is not pleased that they have another religion. إِنَّ الدِّينَ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ الْإِسْلَامِ, then verily the religion that's with Allah is Islam. وَمَنْ يَبْتَغِي غَيْرَ الْإِسْلَامِ دِينًا فَلَنْ يُقْبَلَ مِنْهُ وَهُوَ فِي الْآخِرَةِ مِنَ الْخَاسِرِينَ, and whoever desires a deen other than Islam, it will never be accepted from him, and in the hereafter he will be from the losers. Allah Ta'ala says, اليوم أكملت لكم دينكم وأتممت عليكم نعمتي ورضيت لكم الإسلام دينا. And on this day I have perfected for you your religion and completed my favor upon you, and I am pleased that you have Islam as your way of life, that you have Islam as your religion. So Allah Ta'ala tells us here in this ayah that He is pleased for us that we have Islam as our deen. Naam. So we ask Allah Ta'ala to guide us to the deen, to guide us to that way of life, and then to give us the success in being upon it, to accept it, and to live our lives upon it. All of this we understand from Allah Ta'ala's statement, اهدنا الصراط المستقيم, and guide us to the straight path. Naam. And then Allah Ta'ala goes on to say, صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم, the path of those whom your favor is upon them. The path of those whom your favor is upon them. Naam. From who? من النبيين, from the prophets. Because of course the prophets, they are those who Allah Ta'ala, His favor is upon them. Naam. وَصِدِّيقِينَ, and from those who are sincere. Those who are sincere in their religion. Those who have sincere deen. Naam. And I want you to look at this level of sincerity. Naam. Because the Siddiqun, Naam, Siddiqun, this is the jama'. The wahid, the mufrad, huwa Siddiq. Naam, Siddiq. This is the singular, and the plural, Siddiqun. This is an individual who is sincere in his faith. He's sincere. He's truthful in his faith. Naam, he's truthful, he's sincere in his faith. The Sahaba, no doubt, they were examples of this. Right? But as an example, from those examples, is who? Is like Abu Bakr, and this is why he was given a nickname, what? As-Siddiq. Naam, he was the truthful, he was the sincere. His iman was truthful and sincere. And I want you to look at the ayah, because the ayah, it goes from the best to the least from the best. Because all of these are good, right? But it goes from the best of the good to the least from the good. Okay? So we have first an-Nabiyyin, right? We have first an-Nabiyyin, the prophets. Then after them is what? Was-Siddiqeen, and then the truthful, sincere. And then we have was-Shuhada, and then we have a-Shuhada, the martyrs. The martyrs, those who die in the way of Allah Azza wa Jal, those who die fi sabilillah. But if you look at this, who is better than them, who has a better status than them, is who? The Siddiqun. They are better in status than the Shuhada, than the martyrs. طيب خير. والصالحين, and those who are righteous, and wholesome individuals. وَحَسُنَ أُولَٰئِكَ رَفِيقًا, and how goodly are those as companions. How goodly are those as companions. Naam. So these are those whom Allah has bestowed His favor upon. Right? Now, let's spell that out so we know what is their identifying characteristic. Let's spell it out so we know what is their identifying characteristic. Naam. These are those men جمعوا بين العلم النافع والعمل الصالح. These are those who can bind between beneficial knowledge and righteous good deeds. Okay? So these are those who have ilm, they have the knowledge of what they should be doing, and they do it. They have knowledge of what they should stay away from, and they stay away from it. Okay? So they combine knowledge and action together. This is the characteristic of those whom Allah has bestowed His favor upon. And this is our measuring stick, so we know whether or not we're from them. Now, because the person who was sincere unto Allah Azza wa Jalla when he's asking, and he knows what he's asking about, not just he's just saying words of which he doesn't know the meaning to, but a person he's sincere when he asks Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then bila shak wa bila rayb, it will behoove him to what? To strive to bring the actions that go along with his request. I'll give you an example. If you went to an employer, person who owned a company, and you went to him and you said, I'm looking for a job. Is it possible that you can employ me here at this company? Right? Of course, there are going to be certain actions, certain modes of behavior that will be expected from you. The person will expect this from you, right? Because you're asking for something, right or wrong. You're asking him for a job. So he's going to expect that you're going to be cordial to him and respectful to him. He's going to expect that you're going to be respectful to him. You're just asking for a job. Would it make sense now that you're asking for a job, and then you turn around and start verbally abusing him, insulting him, calling him all kinds of this and all kinds of that? It wouldn't match, because didn't you just ask me for a job? And now you're going to turn around and cuss me out? You must don't want a job. Correct? Because the person that's sincere in asking, that's truthful, that he really wants a job, is going to bring forth those characteristics. So the person says, yes, come back tomorrow, 7. It's expected the person will be back tomorrow at 7. Person walks in, 12:30. I'm here. You say, I asked you to be here at 7. You come in 12:30. What's usually the next sentence that comes after that? You must don't want a job. It's not. You really don't want to work here. That's clear. I don't know what all yesterday was about, but obviously you don't really want to work here. Because if so, you'd have been here at 7. Like I actually been here at 7. That's when the job starts. But I'm saying this to say that there's certain actions when a person says something, he's truthful about it. There's certain actions that follow up, which is an indication of his truthfulness. You follow what I'm saying? So when we ask that Allah Ta'ala guide us to the straight path, and we're asking this, Juyaanee, and that the path of those who He bestowed His favor upon, then it's only logical that a person will make an attempt to be good, to be righteous and wholesome, and to do what Allah Ta'ala has commanded him to do. That he would try. Now, if a person were to make such a request and then doesn't try, then this points to what? A lack of sincerity, a lack of conviction. Because how would you ask for something and then you don't even try to be righteous? Oh, Allah, guide us to the straight path, but then He don't want to pray, He don't want to fast, He don't want to pay zakah, He don't want to do anything. And at the same time, He wants to indulge in everything He wants to indulge in. He want to, live His life the way He want to live it. She want to live her life the way she want to live it, as she fits. She's want to do whatever, and he do whatever. And then at the end, still expect to be rewarded. It's amazing. Human beings have some weird concepts, man, and some weird expectations. Ala kulli hal. In any event, it is incumbent that we combine knowledge with action. That we combine knowledge with action. Because this is the way of those whom Allah has bestowed His favor upon, is that they know what is correct, so they seek out the knowledge to learn what is correct, and then they strive to implement it. Now, and of course, we're humans, so we're going to come up short. We're not perfect. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to come up short. We're going to do things that we know we shouldn't be doing from time to time, right? And then when we do that, then we have to follow it up with what we know we should follow it up with, and that is repentance unto Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we try to stay away from that thing, and so on and so forth. Now, so this is not saying that a person can't make mistakes. No one is saying that. You're going to make mistakes. That's inevitable. You're going to make mistakes. But when you make mistakes, and you have to repent sincerely unto Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and try your best earnestly. You have to try your best earnestly. Now, but in doing that, you will only be able to do that based on knowledge and action. Knowledge and action. Okay? A person can't say he's trying his best and then he's sitting around. He's not doing nothing. You follow? That's like, again, another example. You're playing basketball, right? Playing basketball. Brother gets open. You're coming down the court, brother gets open. You see him open. He has his perfect, easy layup. You throw him the ball. You pass it to him, right? He didn't even try to catch it. Ball hit him in his chest. His arms don't even move. He didn't even try to catch it. He's looking at you the whole time. Ball hit him in his chest. Rolls out of bounds. You say, what you doing? He said, come on, man, I'm trying. Will anybody here accept that from him? We'll say, no, you ain't trying. You didn't even catch the ball. You didn't even attempt to catch the ball. You didn't even. If I saw your arms move like you were trying to catch the ball, maybe. If you caught the ball and then you just missed the shot, okay. But you didn't even move. You just stared at me. It hit you in your chest. You could have stopped it from going out of bounds. You didn't even try to stop it. You watched it roll out of bounds. You made no effort, no gesture to even try to stop it, and then you're going to tell me you're trying? No one would accept that. Not going. You wasn't trying. You're lying to me now. You obviously wasn't trying, because I see you wasn't trying. But so I mean, we all know ourselves. We know what it means to try. You have to try. You have to try. You have to try. Okay. You might miss the shot. You might not catch the ball, but you have to try. You have to try. Okay? You have to try. You have to try your earnest. So with that being the case, then what? A person has to be steady on his prayers. Correct? Have to be steady on your prayers. Does it cost money to pray? Huh? No, prayer is free, right? Okay, if you're too poor, you can't afford water, you can't find water to make wudu, so you make tayammum, right? Dirt is free all over the dunya. All over the dunya. I ain't talking about the dirt with the, all the treated stuff and the fertilizer so you can grow your nice little plants and vegetables with it. They may charge you for that, okay? The ones with little styrofoam beads in it, all that type of stuff. I ain't talking about that. I'm talking about the dirt. You go outside, get some dirt right now for free. Much as you want, it's for free right there. So the point is what? And then what? If you're in a situation where you can't even get dirt, then what? Then you pray upon your hand. You can't stand up. Then you pray sitting down, right? You can't sit down. Then you pray laying down. You can't move with your body. Move with your eyes. Okay, you got some kind of crazy condition where even your eyes is paralyzed. Then you do what? Then you pray. You still pray. There's no excuse. You pray to the best of your ability. You understand what I'm saying? So a person that just don't pray can't say he's trying. Can't say she's trying. No, you're not. A sick person, a paraplegic can pray. If they can pray, how you can't pray? You healthy. You follow? You're healthy. Big, strapping, strong man. And you telling me you can't pray? No, you don't want to pray. You can't say you're trying. You know what I'm saying? So the fundamentals have to be there. The salat has to be there. Person come and say, I can't fast. Why? What's wrong with you? You sick? Something wrong with you? No, I get hungry. Yeah, so seriously? But you trying. It's amazing. People's weird. Anyway, فإن منعم عليهم هم أهل العلم والعمل, because those whom Allah has bestowed His favor upon, they are the people of knowledge and action. They know what is right and then they act in accordance to it. They know what's right and act in accordance to it. They know what is wrong and they know what's right and they act in accordance to it to the best of their ability. They know what is wrong, they stay away from it. Right? غَيْرِ الْمَغْضُوبِ عَلَيْهِمْ, not those whom your anger is upon. Who are those whom Allah's anger is upon? Hum al-Yahud, the Jews. So, does this ayat mean just don't be a Jew? No. Right? It don't just mean that. Of course it means don't be a Jew. Okay? Because what? In the deen inda Allah is Islam. The only religion accepted by Allah is Islam. Right? So I mean, yeah, don't be a Jew. But not just don't be a Jew. وَمَنْ سَلَكَ نَهْجَهُمْ, and those who are upon their way as well. Those who are upon the way of the Jew. What's the way of the Jew? مِنْ يَعْلَمُ الْحَقِّ وَلَا يَعْمَلُ بِهِ, those who know the truth, but they don't act in accordance to it. This is the characteristic of the Jew. He knows the truth, but doesn't act in accordance to it. Okay? And anyone who knows the truth, regardless of whatever they call themselves, regardless of whatever they call themselves, if they know the truth, but they do not act in accordance to it, then they have fit the description of those whom Allah is angry with. Because Allah is angry with those who know the truth, but don't act in accordance to it. And what's an example of that? It's the Jews. But this is not something that is restricted to just them. It's just an example of those who know the truth but don't act in accordance to it. That makes sense? But we ask Allah, don't make us of them. So again, if a person was sincere in his asking, then it is only right that then he strives not to be like that. He strives, he puts forth an effort not to be like that. So it's incumbent upon us that we put forth an effort to not be like that, and that is that we implement what we know. That we strive to implement what we know. وَلَا الضَّالِّينَ. Know of those who are astray. Who are those who are astray? هُمُ النَّصَارَى. They are the Christians. The Christians, right? Just the Christians? No. وَمَنْ سَلَكَ مَسْلَكَهُمْ. And those who are upon their way. Those who are upon the way of the Christians. Well, what's that way? What's the way of those who are astray? مَمَّنْ يَعْبُدُ اللَّهَ تَبَارَكَ وَتَعَالَى بِغَيْرِ بَصِيرَةٍ وَلَا عِلْمٍ. They are those who worship Allah. They worship Allah, right? But without any insight, and they have no knowledge. They worship Allah, but they have no insight and no knowledge. They just be doing stuff. Now, just be doing stuff. The ulama, they mention that this also this is the description of what? Of the people of innovation. Because the people of innovation, they worship Allah upon no knowledge. And how could they have knowledge? Because knowledge, Allah said, the Prophet ﷺ said, the Sahaba said, that's knowledge. Okay? Ahlul Bid'ah, they do things that there's no ayah as a proof for it, no hadith as a proof for it. No one from the Salaf ever did it, ever knew anything about it, never believed it. So it doesn't fit anywhere in the realm of what is knowledge. So this is clearly something that is based upon what? Ignorance. Because if it's not from knowledge, then by default it's from ignorance. Now, so there's also a warning from the way of the people of innovation, because their way fall under this description. Those who are astray, they're astray. They worship Allah upon ignorance. Worship Allah upon ignorance. Now, Shaykh Abdul Razak, he says, وَالْمَقْصُودِ تحذير من علماء السوء وعباد الضلال. He says, so what is intended is a warning against the evil scholars. Now, the evil scholars who know stuff, but they don't act in accordance to their knowledge. And also from the avid worshippers who are astray. The avid worshippers who are astray. Now, كما قال سفيان ابن عيينة, Imam Sufyan ibn Juyaanee rahimahullah ta'ala, he said, من فسد من علمائنا كان فيه شبه من اليهود ومن فسد من عبادنا كان فيه شبه من النصارى. He said that whoever, and this statement, Imam Ibn Kathir, he mentions inside of his tafsir, Imam Sufyan ibn Juyaanee, he said that whoever is corrupted from our scholars, then he has a resemblance to the Jews. And whoever is corrupted from our avid worshippers, then he has a resemblance to the Christians. Then he has a resemblance to the Christians. Shaykh Abdul Razak, he says, وَمِنْ أَعْظَمْ مَا يُعِينُ عَلَى فَهْمِ هَذِهِ السُّورَةِ. And from the greatest thing that will aid you upon the understanding of the surah, Hadith Abi Hurairah عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم فيما يرويه عن ربه تبارك وتعالى أنه قال قسمت الصلاة بيني وبين عبدي نصفين ولعبدي ما سأل. He says, and what will help us to understand this surah is the hadith of Abu Hurairah, who narrated on the authority of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and that which the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he narrated upon his Lord tabarak wa ta'ala, that verily Allah ta'ala, he said, I have divided the prayer between me and between my slaves into two halves. وَلِعَبْدِ مَا سَأَلْ. And for my slave is whatever he asks for. فإذا قال العبد الحمد لله رب العالمين فإذا قال العبد الحمد لله رب العالمين, when the slave says that all praise and thanks belong to Allah, the Lord of all that exists, قال الله تعالى, Allah says, Allah the Most High, he says, حمدني عبدي, he says, my slave has praised me. My slave has praised me. وَإِذَا قَالَ الرَّحْمَنُ الرَّحِيمُ وَإِذَا قَالَ الرَّحْمَنُ الرَّحِيمُ, and when he says the most merciful, the bestower of mercy, قال الله تعالى, that Allah Ta'ala, he says, أثنى علي عبدي, he says my slave has exalted me. وَإِذَا قَالَ مَالِكِ يَوْمِ الدِّينِ, and when he says the owner of the day of judgment, قَالَ, Allah Ta'ala says, مَجَّدَنِي عَبْدِي, he says my slave has glorified me. My slave has glorified me. وَإِذَا قَالَ إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ, and when he says, unto you alone do we worship and unto you alone do we ask for aid, help and assistance, قال Allah Ta'ala, he says, هَذَا بَيْنِي وَبَيْنَ عَبْدِي وَلِعَبْدِي مَا سَأَلْ, he says that this is between me and between my slave, and my slave, he will have whatever he asks for. My slave, he will have whatever he asks for. And then what's the next ayah? The next ayah is what? وَإِذَا قَالَ فَإِذَا قَالَ اهْدِنَا الصِّرَاطَ الْمُسْتَقِيمِ, guide us to the straight path. صِرَاطَ الَّذِينَ أَنْعَمْتَ عَلَيْهِمْ غَيْرِ الْمَغْضُوبِ عَلَيْهِمْ وَلَا الضَّالِينَ. The last two ayat, 6 and 7. Guide us to the straight path, the path of those whom your favor is upon, not the path of those who you are angry with, nor of those who are astray. For Allah Ta'ala, he says, هَذَا لِعَبْدِي وَلِعَبْدِي مَا سَأَلْ, this is for my slave, and my slave, he will have what he has asked for. Hadithun Sahih, akhrajahu Muslim. This hadith is Sahih, has been collected by Muslim. Na'am, tremendous hadith. Tremendous hadith. وَمَعْنَى, and the meaning of qasamtu, qasamtu salat, that I have divided the salat, al-Fatiha, meaning al-Fatiha, because al-Fatiha summiyat salatan, because al-Fatiha, one of the names of al-Fatiha is salat, and what's the dalil? وَمَا الدَّلِيل? This hadith, the hadith of Abu Hurairah, the hadith Qudsi, narrated by Abu Hurairah on the authority of the Prophet ﷺ, who narrated on his Lord, that is collected in Muslim. This hadith, qasamtu as-salat bayni wa bayna abdi nisfayn, that I have divided the prayer between me and my slave into two halves. لأنه also is called the salat. Why? لأنه لا صلاة لمن لم يقرأ بها, because there is no prayer for whoever doesn't recite it in it. So person doesn't recite Fatiha in the rak'ah, the prayer doesn't count. There's no rak'ah for him, there's no prayer for him if he makes salat without reciting Surah Al-Fatiha. And for those who know Surah Al-Fatiha, I have the ability to recite it, so on and so forth. لعظم مكانتها في الصلاة, and this is due to the tremendous position of the Fatiha in the Salah. والمعنى, and the meaning of القسمها بين الرب والعبد, that قسمها بين الرب والعبد, that is divided between the Lord and between the slave. أن ثلاث آية والنصف منها للرب, is that there are 3.5 verses that are for Allah, now they are for the Lord, right? And then you have وهي the first part, وثلاث آيات والنصف لعبد, and then you have 3.5 verses that are for the slave. 3.5 verses that are for the slave, and this is the end of the surah. The last half of it is for the slave. فَأَوَّلُهَا ثَنَاءٌ عَلَى اللَّهِ, so the beginning of Surah Al-Fatiha is praising Allah Azza wa Jal. وَآخِرُهَا دُعَاءٌ لِلْعَبْدِ, and the end of it is making dua is dua for the slave. So the first part of it is praising Allah, and the last part of it is making dua for the slave. وَهِيَ تُسَمَّى الْقُرْآنِ. And Surah Al-Fatiha is also called the mother of the Qur'an. لأنها يعني حوت إجمالا ما حواه القرآن تفصيلا. Because Surah Al-Fatiha, it comprises and it covers generally what the Qur'an covers, goes on to cover specifically. It covers in general what the Qur'an goes on to cover in detail thereafter. وهي مليئة بالدروس والعبر. And Surah Al-Fatiha is filled with lessons and is filled with admonishments. It's filled. That's why I kept mentioning before, we're just mentioning some of what the benefits that we contain in this particular ayah or that particular ayah, because there's so much more that could be said, and it's so rich in its benefit. So this is just an encouragement to go and to dig deeper, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, to read through the tafsir of Ahl Sunnah, the likes of Tafsir Ibn Kathir, Al-Hafidh Ibn Kathir, Tafsir of Imam Sa'di, so on and so forth, to read through the tafsir of Ahl Sunnah, to get some more understanding of this tremendous surah. وَتَقْرِيرُ قَوَاعِدِ الدِّينِ وَأُصُولِ الْإِيمَانِ. And then also you have inside of Surah Al-Fatiha the principles of the religion and some fundamental principles of Iman, of faith. وأمور الشريعة والأخلاق والآداب. And you have in Surah Al-Fatiha the affairs of the Sharia and the affairs of character and the affairs of behavior, how we should act. Just reflect back on how Surah Al-Fatiha will help people deal, if they truly understood what was contained therein, with different situations that may come up in their life, so on and so forth. How they will be able to handle certain things and have a proper outlook and perspective on things and move accordingly, and so on and so forth. All this we learn is contained inside of Surah Al-Fatiha. إلى غير ذلك مما حوته هذه السورة العظيمة, until other than that which this tremendous surah it covers. Other than that which is that this tremendous surah it covers. And then the Mu'allif Imam bin Baz, he mentions after Surah Al-Fatiha that we should go over and we should know from Surah Al-Zalzala to Nas. From Surah Al-Zalzala to Nas. So Shaykh Abdul Razak Hafidhahullah Ta'ala, he gets into the next surah, and that is the tafsir of Surah Al-Zalzala. However, we will save this until the next time. We'll save this until the next class بإذن تعالى. فنكتفي بهذا القدر، وصلى الله وسلم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين، وجزاكم الله خيرا.